Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news. Late today, authorities on this deadly runway collision at LaGuardia Airport. Late today, news obtaining the chilling new video. The passenger plane crashing into that fire truck. That truck had just been given the clear to cross the runway. Then an air traffic controller trying to get the truck to stop. Stop, truck one. Stop. The two pilots both killed.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news on Disney Plus. Most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news. Late today, authorities on this deadly runway collision at LaGuardia Airport. Late today, ABC News obtaining the chilling new video. The passenger plane crashing into that fire truck. That truck had just been given the clear to cross the runway. Then an air traffic controller trying to get the truck to stop. Stop, truck one. Stop. The two pilots both killed. A flight attendant reportedly found ejected from that plane, still belted into a seat. Passengers turning to help each other off that plane down the wing. More than 40 rushed to the hospital. The two firefighters in that truck surviving raced to the hospital with broken bones. And what we've now learned tonight about those final moments, how fast that plane was going at impact. Gio Benitez live at LaGuardia Airport. Also tonight, hundreds of ICE agents have now been more than a dozen airports across the U.S. The president of this shutdown, TSA workers going without pay. Tonight, TSA workers and passengers, some waiting 6 hours in line, saying lawmakers should come up with a solution to pay the workers. Why President Trump tonight is telling Republicans not to make a deal. Tonight, the war in Iran, President Trump and his threat to attack Iran's key electrical plants. The president now says he'll give Iran 5 more days. He says the U.S. and Iran are now talking. Tonight, Iran denying any talks are taking place, with gas prices here in the U.S. now up more than $1. Tonight, the young university student shot and killed while walking with a group of her friends. Tonight, a suspect now charged, Homeland Security saying he is in the country illegally. The horrific images tonight, multiple ambulances from a Jewish volunteer service set on fire. The explosion outside a synagogue, and tonight the surveillance of potential suspects. Tonight, the heartbreaking loss, a well-known NHL reporter and mother of 3. She and her children killed in a house fire. Police releasing that body camera video of Justin Timberlake's DWI arrest. Tonight, what he can be heard saying on that video. The meteor streaking across the sky, crashing right through the roof of a home here in the U.S. And tonight here, we remember an actress known for her role in the original Superman movie.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Jennifer Homendy, and I'm the chairwoman of the National Transportation Safety Board. With me today is John DeLue. John is our newest board member at the National Transportation Safety Board, and this is his training launch. Also with me today is Doug Brazy. Doug, B-R-A-Z-Y. Doug Brazy is our investigator in charge, or IIC, as we refer to the investigator in charge. He is a senior aviation accident investigator, and he has been with the NTSB for 34 years. NTSB, as some of you may know, is an independent federal agency that's charged by Congress with investigating every civil aviation accident in the United States, as well as significant events in other modes of transportation. We are independent. We are not part of the U.S. Department of Transportation. And why that is important to mention is that as part of our investigation, we also have oversight authority in the investigation over the Federal Aviation Administration. We're here to investigate a collision between a Bombardier CRJ-900 with an aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle while the aircraft was landing at LaGuardia last night around 11:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The airplane was operated by Jazz Aviation, doing business as Air Canada Express, Flight 8646. It had 72 passengers on board and 4 crew on board. 2 firefighters were in the firefighting vehicle. I want to just take a moment and on behalf of the entire National Transportation Safety Board, express our deepest condolences to those who lost loved ones in this terrible tragedy. We also know others have suffered injury, and our sympathies are with each of you as well. I will mention we have 5 members of our Transportation Disaster Assistance Team here on scene, as well as the chief of our Transportation Disaster Assistance Division. They work in concert with the American Red Cross, and thank you to the American Red Cross, to provide resources and information about our investigation and what we are doing to those who lost loved ones, or those survivors or families of survivors throughout the investigation, not just here on scene, but as we move forward with our investigation through the final board meeting and sometimes after. We also expect to have around 25 specialists on site here on scene. That is an addition.
Police are searching for a retired Air Force general who vanished in New Mexico. William McCaslin went missing last month. Members of Congress are warning this could be a national security issue. The general was involved with the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace research. He oversaw a classified space weapons program. McCaslin was in charge of the Air Force Research Lab at a base in Ohio. It's rumored that base holds extraterrestrial debris from the Roswell crash site. The general was tied in with the UFO community. A source told the New York Post the general was a gatekeeper for anything UFO related in the Air Force. He retired due to mental fog, but investigators say he's still highly intelligent and capable. McCaslin was an avid hiker. His wife last saw him leaving with a backpack and a .38 revolver. No phone, no glasses. He disappeared 6 days right after Trump announced he was releasing the UFO files. And he's not the only one. 8 months before the general vanished, a rocket scientist who worked under him years ago also went missing. She was hiking in California with 2 other people. They saw her smiling and waving 30 feet behind them. When they turned back again, she was gone, vanished in plain sight. They searched for days and couldn't find any trace of her. This is a very, very strange situation. And 11 days before the general disappeared, another scientist was shot dead on his porch. Carl Grillmar was known for discovering signs of water on a distant planet. He was gunned down in California. Freddie Snyder was later charged with his murder. He has a rap sheet, but was let out of jail by a Newsom-appointed judge weeks before he allegedly killed the scientist. We still don't know his motive. And we don't know if these cases are even connected, but this many top scientists getting killed or going missing in just under a year looks like a major red flag. Chris Swecker is a former assistant FBI director. Chris, the mind goes right to a foreign intelligence service. Is that where your gut tells you this is going towards?
Well, yeah, it It is, Jesse. I mean, I understand that.
Asia First.
For Good Tuesday morning, I'm Julie Yu. The headlines this hour. Iranian officials deny holding any talks with the U.S. after President Donald Trump cites constructive conversations and pauses strikes on energy infrastructure.
We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
The American leader has yet to specify which Iranian leaders his administration has been speaking to, while analysts say Tehran's attacks on ships have paralyzed 30% of global crude oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, giving Iran significant leverage. Sarah, how the Asian markets building on Wall Street's relief rally overnight as investors bet on the prospect of a de-escalation in the Middle East. But volatility remains as oil prices tick higher in Asian trade after plunging more than 10% overnight. The International Energy Agency warns of prolonged disruptions in oil flows that threaten to upend the global economy.
This is the challenge we are facing is a global challenge. No country will be immune to the effects of this crisis if it continues to go in this direction.
Pakistan pictures itself as lead mediator. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif holds talks with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. Observers say Islamabad is leveraging its military leaders' ties to Tehran in warm relationship with President Trump. While China presses for an immediate halt to military actions in the Middle East, warning further escalation could plunge the region into chaos. Plus, Israeli strikes hit Beirut's southern suburbs. The military says it's targeting Hezbollah's military infrastructure, while Lebanese officials say an attack on a key crossing is a prelude to a ground invasion. The United Nations says around 1 in 5 people have been forced to flee their homes. Also coming up.
This is one of India's largest rice grain markets, and traders are telling me that they're worried if those tens of thousands of consignments of Indian rice don't reach their eventual destinations, their operations could be impacted.
A report on how a country heavily reliant on fertilizer imports is being hit by the ongoing war. Prime Minister Narendra Modi allaying concerns, saying the economy is strong and that it has adequate resources.
And European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said to address Australia's Parliament, she will be the first female foreign leader to do so, underscoring deepening ties as both sides seal a landmark trade deal as well as defense and security partnerships.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. and Iran have achieved what he calls major points of agreement, voicing hopes a deal could soon be reached to end the ongoing conflict.
Mr. Trump delayed strikes against Iranian energy sites for 5 days.
It's 3 a.m. here in Paris. Thanks for staying with us on France 24. This is Night Watch. These are our main stories. Donald Trump pushes back his deadline to hit Iranian power plants by 5 days, citing what he called very strong talks. The US president said negotiations to reopen the Strait of Hormuz were underway with a top Iranian figure, but Tehran firmly denied any talks and called the move a retreat. The EU says it will restrict the flow of classified information to Hungary following reports that the foreign minister shared sensitive intelligence with Russia. Budapest has strongly denied the claims published in the Washington Post. It comes at a politically sensitive moment ahead of national elections in Hungary next month. And Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni loses a referendum on her flagship judicial overhaul. Turnout was high for the vote, seen as a direct judgment on her leadership 3.5 years into her tenure. Meloni acknowledged the setback but said it was no reason to consider resigning.
Hello, welcome
welcome to Africa News Today. I am Ali Bamba Diabito. Now, the headlines of the week. More than 80 dead and 1,200 hectares of farmland flooded. That's the latest toll from sudden floods in Kenya. Mali releases jihadists in a bid to ease the fuel crisis in Bamako. Farmers in Sao Tome and Principe commit to forest restoration for sustainable cocoa production. In Kenya, entire villages have been submerged by water in Kisumu County. The region is being severely hit by climate-related shocks. Recent torrential rains have killed more than 80 people. Hello, welcome to Africa News Today. I am Ali Bamba Diabito. Now, the headlines of the week. More than 80 dead.
This DW News, these are our top stories. US President Donald Trump has said he has postponed military strikes on Iran's power infrastructure for 5 days, following what he described as very good talks with an Iranian leader on ending the war. Iran's foreign ministry denies any talks have taken place. Trump had previously threatened to bomb Iranian power plants if Tehran did not open the Strait of Hormuz within a 48-hour deadline. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned what he called a, quote, horrific anti-Semitic arson attack in London. 4 ambulances belonging to a Jewish charity were set on fire. The attack destroyed the vehicles and shattered windows in nearby homes, but no one was injured. Counter-terrorism police are treating the incident as a hate crime. Italian voters have rejected a judicial reform backed by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's right-wing coalition government. Meloni had described it as a key step to streamlining Italy's judicial system. The centre-left opposition and legal associations argued that the reform would undermine checks and balances and be a threat to judicial independence.
As Israel's war with Iran intensifies, the conflict in Lebanon is also heating up. Israeli strikes are hitting not just
The Nan Up 4. Search for The Expanse podcast on ABC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Today, Australia and the European Union strike a free trade deal with tariffs on wine and seafood set to be slashed.
This is a significant moment for our nation as we secure an agreement with the world's second largest economy.
Iran vows to push ahead with the war in the Middle East after Donald Trump postpones attacks on Iranian energy facilities. Children to be banned from riding e-bikes and e-scooters in Queensland under proposed laws. And ex-tropical cyclone Narelle forecast to re-intensify off the coast of WA. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ros Childs. Australia and the European Union have struck a new trade deal and signed a security partnership in the midst of global strategic uncertainty. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has addressed federal parliament after meeting with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese as the two entities deal with an increasingly unpredictable White House. The security agreement is not a formal...
This is Sky News, the headlines. Donald Trump insists the US is in talks with Iran as he delays a threat to bomb energy infrastructure.
If it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
The Speaker of Iran's parliament is reportedly the man the Americans are talking to, but he says it's news to him. Anti-terror police investigate claims an Iran-aligned group was behind the arson attack on a Jewish community ambulances in North London.
Frontier 4195, stop there, please. Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop.
The runway at New York's LaGuardia Airport will remain closed for days after a deadly collision between a plane and a fire engine. Good morning. Iran and America are at odds over talks to end the conflict in the Middle East. Donald Trump's declaration that he'll postpone obliterating Tehran's power plants after productive discussions was welcomed by the world's markets, but Iran hit back, arguing it's fake news with no talks taking place. Rather, it was the US president's attempt to calm the economy. Here's our US correspondent, David Levens.
Buried but breathing, a survivor beneath the rubble, a rescuer holding on to hope. The reality of airstrikes on Tehran, despite President Trump's talk of potential breakthrough.
They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone.
News of talks came in a Truth Social post. The commander-in-chief putting plans to bomb Iran's power plants on hold.
We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
But there's no sign of any